Hey, everybody, and happy Kwanzaa Habaragani.
Nia.
Yeah.
Nia, yes, today we're talking about Nia or purpose. I have two amazing guests. I just was telling them before we came on, they're purpose filled. No two better guests to talk about how to find our purpose. If we're looking for our purpose, how do they find their purpose? And the importance of finding our purpose. So please, please, please tune in for this amazing conversation. I will let our guests introduce themselves. I'll start with my aunt, Gwen. Small plug. We call her Cookie in my family, so I might call her Auntie Cookie or I might call her Gwen. So don't judge me, okay? So Gwen, please let us know who you are.
Hi, everybody. Avaragani to you and happy Kwanzaa. My name is Gwen Knowles. I am a educator. I work in the field of guidance at a vocational school. But my passion and things that bring me joy are connecting people, being like a broker, being able to have other people be able to find their purpose through whatever way it is that I can do that. And I'm really happy to be able to be here today. And I just want to thank you, Stephanie, for having this vehicle, this platform for us to be able to have these conversations. And I'm really just looking forward to it. And thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Khalid, I met him in a Black marriage and family therapist group. His posts were so on point. I'm like, who is this? I have to connect. That's who I am as a person. I'm like, who is this awesome guy? So, I'm so glad he's able to come on. Khalid, please just introduce the people to who you are.
All right. Well, first of all, I like thank you for entering in my life. Okay. And welcome aboard, Auntie. You part of it, the village too, with me. All right. So, purpose, Nia. What a wonderful day to celebrate our purpose, and especially going into 2020. I tell folks all the time that social work is not my career, not my job, it's my ministry, right? And as you can see, he's given me all the tools, to carry out my purpose. And I've been a social worker for 28 and a half years now and have never regret a day of my purpose. So, and I do everything in social work. During the day, I work at the VA hospital with veterans who are homeless and have mental health and substance abuse issues. Then I have a private practice, www.highachievers.net. And then I work as a therapist for DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services. And I'm a trainer, and college lecturer, because we got to get the message out to everybody. And I understand that as a Black male clinician, my words can be powerful. And I didn't know the power of it until recently when 7 Black men contacted me, like an Auntie, to say, I want to commit suicide. Now, we don't get men calling in. We don't get men coming for mental health services. So that tells you how the trajectory of this is doing a full circle, because now we have Black men saying, I need help, you know? So let's continue to walk in our purpose. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's amazing. And you both are literally walking your purpose, what you're called to do. Auntie, I'll ask that you just kind of give a background history of how you even stumbled into your purpose. I know you always say, you didn't always start in education and you want to do something else, but your purpose will find you. And no matter how we try to escape it or run from it or go to the left or the right, that purpose is smack dab right in your face. Some of us decide to ignore it, you know what I mean? Or decide to not really engage in it, but we find ourselves miserable and not able to truly be happy until we are truly walking in our purpose. So I'm grateful, that you both are able to walk in your purpose. And then this is what we want to get into, like, who is our purpose for? It's ours, but who does it serve and who is it for? So we'll get into that. Khalid already was saying who his purpose is for. Seven Black men contacted him about committing suicide if he wasn't walking in his purpose. My God, what would have happened to these men? I don't even want to think about that, So if we're not walking in our purpose, who are we affecting? But look, we're going to get into all that. Auntie, please just explain how you stumbled into your purpose, like what that path was like.
Sure. Well, it definitely wasn't something that I would have chosen, because with me working in the field of education and with young people, and I, have mentioned this before, I didn't like kids. Even when I was a child, I didn't I didn't like them. I said, people, when I was a teenager in high school, my friends used to always say there was a 60-year-old woman trapped in your body.
Wow.
I I didn't like them. I had thought I really had wanted to be an archaeologist at one time, but about my junior year of high school, when I went to like a career type of day, and talk with a woman, and she was just very honest in regards to like a lot of the classes that I didn't take that would allow me to have went that path, like the sciences and things on those type of lines. So then I thought about maybe juvenile probation, but again, working with kids, I stumbled in youth, as I grew up in the church, and then I became a youth group leader. So I've always found myself being around young people, and I was working with a trio program, doing the work of guidance. And I remember the director of guidance at the high school where I was. She's like, "You ought to become a guidance counselor." She's like, "You were doing the work." So I did, but again, I was never planning on doing it. I was just going to have it enhance the job that I was doing and just give me some more tools that I can be able to work with my students and their families. And then an opportunity just came up at my current job, and I've been there for 10 years now. That I could not imagine doing anything else. So much like you said, Stephanie, that your purpose, and I feel that your purpose is that dash again on your tombstone, that dash, your life. Um, my my email address is purpose driven. Like, um, you have to really decide and just know we all have a purpose. And again, some of us don't walk in it right away, but God is the master planner, and He can rewrite a script in a minute. And next thing you know, there you are back doing what what you was running from, Jacob. Okay, and the time can go by. Khalid, you said you've been 28 years. Again, like he labored for 14 years for Rachel, like nothing, because that was gonna be, after he saw her, that was gonna be his purpose. So it's good to walk in your purpose, I feel, if you can, like right away, because it just saves you some things along the way, even though every situation that happens, good, bad, or otherwise, is a learning experience. And that I think it's important for people to know that they do have a purpose. When I talk with my students, was caught with drug paraphernalia, and I went to him and talked with him and was just like, "Look it, I am talking to you because I know that you have a purpose, and that is not your purpose. I'm not trying to be the weed police or anything along those type of lines." I just explained to him about, with safety, being in a vocational school, stuff that you have to be safe about, but also you have a purpose. I have to tell my students that constantly, that they have a purpose, and that negative behavior is going to get in the way of their purpose. But again, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything different than what I am doing. And, males of color, that is my heart and that is my passion. Like, I go even harder for that population because I do know what they are up against. So it's important that I speak life into all my students, but I speak life into them daily, because if they're not going to know it anywhere else, they're going to know that there is someone that's rooting for them, and that is can't wait to be on the sidelines looking at them as they're walking in their purpose.
Absolutely. I mean, let's get into that. How do we pull purpose out of people? Khaled, will ask you to just, share about that. How do you pull purpose out of people? Like, what's that process like? You've seen purpose in someone. What do you do to pull purpose out of people and encourage them to walk in that?
First, we have to walk into it. Anytime we ask, require, demand, beg, plead, we have to walk it first. Because I can't ask you to be excellent if I'm not excellent. Okay. Then we have to make a commitment. And then we got to be consistent with our walk and then walking if we choose to walk with them. So I mentor over 20 young men, been doing it 25 years. And you ask all 20 something of them. And sometimes they love me, sometimes my boys hate me, but they know coach is consistent. I get on them, but they know the underlining thing is love. And I can't tell them to be the best black men if they see me out here being trifling. Then I have a beautiful 19-year-old daughter, right? I can't tell my daughter to marry Prince Charming Johnson if she didn't see Prince Charming Jackson, I'm sorry, Prince Charming Scott in the house with her. You know, even my office, I call this the Cosby room, because I can't tell my daughter to get awards and be excellent if she didn't see daddy getting awards and being excellent. So those are the fundamental things we got to have in place, right? And then as a social worker, remember, I got to go to work every day and see the downtrodden of life. I make my money off of misery, Lilac and Auntie Gwen. So let's take that in. I make my living and my money off of misery, and I'm tired of it. I wish we didn't need social workers. I'm okay being unemployed, but I will never be employed. Think about that. I will never be unemployed. So we walk our purpose as a billboard. And then we always see the light in everybody, because everybody has a purpose. Because if we question that, then we're questioning God, saying, God, you made a mistake with Jerome. You made a mistake with Tamika. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Everybody on this earth has a purpose to fill. And sometimes we lose our way. So that's why we got people who do what we do to say, hey, let me grab you and put you back on your right lane, because you out of order. Let's get you back in order. You know, this work is my ministry, ladies. This is my ministry, and then people tell me all the time I sound like a minister. You know what I'm saying? And whatever, you know, whatever gets you to come here, you know, I'm gonna let you come out. I look like Morris Chestnut with a beard. If that helps you come here, you know what I'm saying? We gonna don't be judging me, like, don't you dare judge me.
I'm judging. Yeah, go on.
Whatever I got it, I'm gonna go to that gym and look good in that suit. If that's gonna make you come and sit in my office and do the right thing. Because again, when God calls you to do something and you pick up the phone and answer his call, he'll give you every tool to carry it out. He'll give you everything. So that's it.
Oh,
I'm
amazing.
preaching. Yeah, I know
You're
I'm preaching.
preaching. You're preaching. I remember the first conversation we ever had. I'm just calling like to connect because we're both in the mental wealth field. And then I felt like shouting and raising my hands because I'm like, wait a minute, like, what's going on? But you were like, this is my ministry. And if your purpose isn't your ministry, then we're doing a disservice, right? Like, if we have not made this our ministry, if we have not made this our life call, what we're supposed to be put on this earth to do, then we're not really able to fully engage with that. A lot of people don't know their purpose, and we can make the connection in our community. Why our community is the way it is because so many people are running from their purpose. Auntie, I'm going to ask you to speak to that. You know, you work with students and things like that, and I've always known you to be in these positions where you are mentoring and encouraging, and that's kind of where this conversation is going next. How we are able to mentor and really, you know, encourage people to walk in their purpose. But we can't talk about fulfilling purpose without talking about the lack of fulfilling purpose and how that really affects our community.
I feel that sometimes we give in to the negative voices that say you're going to not amount to, you're going to be all the your whole well. And then sometimes the biggest critic that we give into is the voice inside our own head
Mm.
that has absorbed all this stuff and is and co-signs on it. So that's a lot of reasons why I sometimes feel that people don't walk into their purpose. You know, we have jails that are full of young men that have so much potential, but they chose to believe a falsehood about themselves or about their people, just a stereotype. And it's very hard. I'm not gonna, lie in the transparency that it is very hard to get past sometimes the things that people say, and especially if it comes from within, with family. That those wounds, can take a minute to heal. um, it's important I to try and let my students know that whatever their current circumstances is, that doesn't define them. That does not define who you are and what you have the potential to be, and that you can rise above. I cannot sit here honestly and say that, oh, all those type of conversations like that magic wand you waved and it worked. But I believe in that God's word doesn't come back void. I believe in planting a seed, and then just praying that there will be others that will water that seed positively and won't rip it up from the root, and allow it to be able to grow and flourish. Because I do not believe in a million years that there's anyone um, who might be selling drugs or who's killed someone, who's done, like, they did not sit in school in first grade and think this is what they wanted to become as an adult or as a young adult. It isn't. It's just the beating down of life sometimes, where we just where we give up, and we still have a lot more fight in us, but like there's no one speaking that resiliency or fortitude to us to let us know that it will get better. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, that slides us right over into the mentoring piece, that if we don't have people speaking life to us, we're in trouble. You know, our purpose will die. Auntie, you talked about the roots and the seeds. So everybody has purpose. So all of our listeners, everybody, look, newsflash, you have purpose. We all have purpose. Everybody, if you're breathing, so if you want to take a pulse check, if you're alive, then you have purpose. The goal is to find that purpose. And sometimes we struggle with find that on our own. So we're shifting right into mentorship and the rewards of mentorship, not just for those getting mentored, but for the mentor as well. When you're able to live out your purpose in that mentoring space, what does that look like? And really, why do we need mentors to really help to stir up the gifts? Right now we talking like Paul, to stir up the gifts in us, because sometimes our spoons don't work, or we don't even have the spoons long enough to stir all the way down. Right, so all of our purposes is sitting at the bottom of something like a sediment. So we need our mentors to stir that up. Khalid, please share. You're an amazing mentor. Obviously, I'm gonna swing back to you with mentoring. What does that look like? Why is it necessary? And just what is that process?
Okay. First, let me share this picture, my collage. I don't know if we can see it or not.
A little bit, little bit. Oh yeah,
Okay.
there it is.
All right. So these are about 20 of my mentees, right? I've been mentoring 25 years. And when I was 16, 17, I asked two men at my work study job in high school to be my mentor because I've never had a dad one day of my life, right? And my mother, my granny, my aunties, girl cousins, they were around me, but I understood that I was missing something, right? Male development, my male voice. Um, and though I have my granddad and uncles around sporadically, I knew I needed to be poured into with the man medicine, right? So I saw these two African American men, Uncle David and Winfred, who I call Older Buck. And I said, guys, would y'all mind mentoring me? And remember, I'm a 17-year-old senior in high school coming to these men. One was 10 years older than me, and one was 19 years older than me. And as soon as I asked them, they said yes. And they immediately poured into me, right? Uncle David had a wisdom. That's the one who was 19 years older than me. And in fact, his birthday is the same day as my mom, February 6th. So he taught me wisdom. And he always said, you have an old soul to be a 17-year-old. And and he had this gray mini afro. And I just loved hearing his stories. And I loved his calm demeanor, right? Then Winfred, who was just 9 years, 10 years older than me, he was a little Christopher Williams guy, So he was the dresser. So he taught me about dressing, And I remember he was the one who introduced me to jazz music. He said, a nice dressing man needs to be cool all the time. And when you get in the car and put in that cassette tape, the little young lady who's sitting in the car with you put on some Sade. I said, well, who is Sade? He was like, what? He's like, oh, you're 17 years old. So he went and bought me the Sade tape, Diamond Life. And he said, go home, take a bath, and watch you go to sleep. And I put that tape in, took a bath, and I fell asleep in the tub. That music calmed my spirit. Imagine if I didn't have, imagine that God didn't give me the wit to go and ask both those men to help me be a man. And I remember my mom got a little jealous when I was telling her about Older Buck and Uncle David. She was like, I helped make you. I said, no, Mom, you made me a good person. You made me a good guy. But I need men to help me be a man. And the little nuances that you don't know, Mom. And she understood. And I remember them coming to my graduation from high school, and I was so proud. And then when I got into social work, I had that one client that I was like, oh my God, he needs me. His name was Martise. And that was the beginning of my journey as a mentor 25 years ago. Martise is 41 years old. When I got him, he was 14. And I haven't looked back since. And all my mentees, I fight with them, ladies. I fight with them because the majority of them didn't have dads. Then I started getting mentees who had dads at home, and it was a difference. The mentees who didn't have dads, they fought me. Tug of war, because they wasn't used to a man giving them direction, right? My mentees who have dads, which is few, they're used to getting direction from a man. So I became like a mentor uncle, right? So I saw that. And then I saw all the moms who kept saying, well, Khalid, could you mentor my son? Could you mentor my son? And it just said, it just screamed how this deficit of Black males in our children's lives, are hurting our community. So of course, in August 21st, 2002, when God blessed me with my Anaya, I understood the assignment, ladies, that, wow, it's a lot. I'm the first man she loves. I'm her first hero. I'm her first role model of maleness in her life. And even when I got divorced, I became an over participatory dad. I fought and got 50% custody of my daughter because I was not going to raise another woman with daddy issues. Because I got all these girl sister friends who got daddy issues and they vulnerable. So see, if again, if I didn't answer God's purpose for me, you know what I'm saying? So so getting me emotional, like you promised me you weren't gonna get me emotional.
I did no such promise. Quite the contrary. Cry it out. I love it.
Until put a belt out like you had to do back in the day on it. But yeah, that's why we got to walk our purpose because we never know who we're gonna benefit.
We
Yeah.
never ever know. We never have any clue. I mean, you're dropping gems. I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing is though when we're helping people to discover their purpose, it's not a one size fits all. It's not like this one blanketed thing. I mean, if you apply the same principles to those mentees, excuse me, who didn't have a dad to the ones who did, it's like, what? Like, it
Mhm.
wouldn't fit. It's like a puzzle piece we're trying to make fit.
Right.
And I recently asked you to be my mentor because I'm like, wait
Yes.
a minute. I'm
Yes.
like, I'm like, fellas, put my picture right up there with all the guys. Throw me up in that collage. I'm just
She
saying.
want to hang with the boys, Auntie.
Listen,
Get her.
I'm from Chicago. I like guys better anyway. I'll come hang with the boys. I told you that. You know what I mean? That's no problem. So they better make room. If anyone watching, make space on the collage for Lilac. Okay. But no, it's serious. And I'm just like, it's amazing to see how you need someone on the next leg of your journey. That's the beauty of purpose too, right? You have a mentor, you have people, but then it's like, all right, if I'm going somewhere else, I need to do something else. Who else do I need to pour into me for this moment so I'm not missing what God has for me? It's amazing. Auntie, when you worked with MEOP, can you talk to some of those things? I mean, you still have I'm they're not even students anymore. I mean, they're adults, much like you, Khalid. Like, they come back and say, oh my gosh, I appreciate you so much for what you did, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. Can you speak to that? The one size doesn't fit all, and how that applies to every space that you've been in.
It was so funny that you mentioned me up because I was thinking about that earlier. I think when it kind of hit me in the sense of, so probably even before I went into guidance, when it kind of hit me that this was my purpose, this is what I wanted to do, because at one of our closing celebrations, one of my seniors that was graduating, her mom had wanted to come and just thank me for sewing and into her child and pouring into her the 3 years she had been in the program. But she had had a stroke, her mom had. So she couldn't walk very well, and part of her face was sagging. And I remember I said, what is she doing? And she said, oh, she wants to come. And she was dragging her foot and she got out, thank you. And it's like, that has stuck with me forever because it was just so touching that whatever it is that I was doing, it kind of made me feel like, oh, like you like you like what I'm doing. It's like, oh, little do you know how much I couldn't stand kids. And it's like it touched me because something that I was doing, and I didn't know, you was in the program stuff. And again, students didn't always like what I had to say, but they knew where it was coming from. And the fact that she had appreciated what I had done for her daughter, it just had kind of touched me. And like we're not in this world alone, you know. Um, we need people on our journeys. The clock starts ticking as soon as we're born. When we come out the womb, the clock is, it starts ticking. And again, we have the opportunity to walk in our purpose And some people can, like, from a young age have known what they wanted to do, and in their purpose. But again, my sister, your mom, has said, like, we don't find our purpose finds us. So those that might even feel at a certain age, it's like, I don't know what my purpose is. If you think about it hard enough and long enough, and there's things that, again, it is a ministry. It is more than a job. It's more than a career. When you have that feeling of knowing that, you know your purpose, and you'll be able to walk in your purpose, because it is a different feeling. You can't even explain it. It's almost like when you're with the person, you know that this is the one. It's just it's just something that and I, you know just try and tell my families, my students, and again, every day, just to reassure them of, what all the possibilities and potentials that they have in them, and also that somebody's waiting for them, that there is somebody in the future that is waiting, for you, for whatever it is that you're going to be walking into. There's somebody that's waiting for you, so you have to show up because somebody's waiting for you.
I love that because it's like that helps to really spark purpose when we're not making it about ourselves, right? Our purpose isn't for us. Our purpose is for someone else, a whole other bunch of people, whole groups of people. And again, if we're out of alignment or not walking in our purpose, there's a lot of people not being helped. So I do want to just help people to get some practical steps for how to find their purpose. Khalid, what would you say are some practical steps for those who are struggling with purpose? And for our viewers, if you have any questions about purpose for our guests, please throw them right in the chat. What would you say someone is struggling to find their purpose? What are some practical steps they can take to help discover what their purpose is?
Right. Sit their tail down. Sit your tail down. Be okay in your quiet space. Reflect. Know what has worked well for you, what doesn't work well for you. And think about what you think might be that you might be able to be committed to, that you will be able to be consistent with. You know, if I can't work with kids, I ain't about to work in the elementary school because it's a setup for me. You know, if I have an issue working with pedophiles, I'm not going to work with pedophiles. You know, because our work, our work takes up a bunch of space in our life, and you gotta like it. You gotta like what you do, cause it takes a whole lot of your time and commitment and your energy. And so you sit back, and this is a great time to do it. A couple of days before the new year, and and let me throw this out. When I'm talking to clients, friends, whoever, one of the consistent messages that I've been getting about the pandemic that we've been in for the last 2 years, it forced us to what? Sit down, reflect, think, and come up with new master plans for ourselves. I read an article, almost 5 million people quit their jobs over these last couple of years to say, wait a minute, that ain't my purpose. Let me go back to school and get a degree that I've been putting off. Let me become let me become an entrepreneur. I mean, I started my private practice now. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the person I'm married to no more. You know? Wow, I like being around my kids and cooking dinner every night. So this 2 years is almost like, and it's going to sound weird, it's almost like this was in God's plan because He needed us to be shook, to be woke, and to redefine who we are. This year I lost 60 pounds, you know, because again, I told you I got to get back to my Morris chestnut because I forgot. I pour into everybody else, Auntie and Lilac, that I forgot to pour into Khalid. Now I like sleeping, you know. I like eating salads, with some French dressing. You know, I like me. I like my company. You know, I like my kid. So sometimes God forces us to sit down and be still so that we can understand and evaluate what our next steps are, what our purpose is.
That's awesome. I mean, the pandemic really, really allowed us to do that. So much of our purpose was discovered there. I mean, people are even in the comments saying, I had my moment, my what am I doing moment. You know what I mean? Is this what I should be doing? And I think it really helped us to realize that we were at jobs, in spaces, in places that we hate and that were killing us. I'm grateful for the pandemic. No disrespect to anyone who lost their life or is going through, but there was a settling and there was a stillness that we needed. We needed that moment to say, okay, I have all the time that I was asking God for. It's been provided. What are we going to do about it? And how are we going to shift our focus to get into our purpose? Auntie, what would you say for anyone who wants to find their purpose? So we have sitting down and really taking the time, because that's the other thing too. We move so quick and doing everything. We're helping everybody else out, but not able to really focus on what we need to do. So what would you say, Auntie, if someone who's practically trying to find and discover their purpose?
That that finding your purpose or walking in your purpose does not always mean that you're out front and that there's going to be tons of money coming along with it. And it means staying in your lane. Look at people cross over the bridge every day. The bridge is important. When that bridge break down, so it's like if that's your purpose, to be a bridge and again helping people and elevating, then that's what it is that you want to do. My best friend, at one time she wanted to be the next Oprah. So I was like, oh good, because I'm pushing her, because if she Oprah, then I'm Gail. And I'm sorry, ain't nothing wrong with being Gail. Oprah is the cut, but Gail's that salsa. But guess what? When that overflow come over that cut, Gail, Gail doing just so. I'm like, yes. Then at some point, that's not. And I mean, she did great. She worked for Dave Chappelle. There was a lot of good bennies that came with it and being a friend. But she is now a psychiatric nurse at the VA hospital and get ready to start her own wellness practice. She loves that is her purpose. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, don't you want to maybe go work on a TV show? You can do some consulting as a nurse. I'm still trying to get to the Emmys or somewhere, right? And she's like, this is this is where I want to be. Like, this is my purpose. So again, someone else's purpose doesn't have to be your purpose. And sometimes God will have people living your purpose right in front of your face as a motivating, is like, this is what you need to be doing. Next thing you know, someone else is starring. The role of Gwen Knowles will now be played by Lilac Calandra. Okay, he'll rewrite the script. He can
Yes.
rewrite the script. Again, I'm going down here wanting to be the whatever. And then we get off. Look at in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy supposed to be on the yellow brick road. Just stay on the yellow brick road. Then she get over here, met someone, blah blah blah. Now she still eventually got a purpose to get back home, but she got off the path along the way. And there's God just rewriting the script. Okay, she's supposed to go this way, but then she saw something shiny and new over this side. So now we're gonna have to rewrite it. So 4 or 5 years, you'll spin with shiny and new, then you're going to jump back over and get back to here, and then next thing you know, there you are getting your degree in education as a guidance counselor working with children. So
Mm.
you'll get there. And it's like, even if it takes 20 years to get there, it's something that was birthed in you way before, it won't even feel like that time has passed. You are still going to have quality time to work in your purpose, because again, this is God's plan for you. So his plan for you, you know, is going to be perfect. And again, his word does not come back void. He speaks it out there, and then we're going to walk in where he's speaking. He is ordering our steps. But again, we can't ask him to order our steps and then we fail to move.
That's right.
We can't have it
That's
both ways.
We can't have it both ways. And what a good God we serve, that even when we get off course, he's able to, like you're saying, rewrite the script and shift. Okay, I'm just taking you on a detour. We love rotaries up north. I'm just taking you on a rotary. Okay, you missed the turn on that, go around. Come on and take it again. And just as you were speaking, Auntie, I'm thinking of Esther, of Queen Esther, who was in position, in place, but did not want to really live out her purpose because she was in a comfortable space. She was in the palace. Mordecai was saying, "This is what your purpose is. This is why I cultivate you and had you come up here." And she's like, "Oh, maybe I don't want to do this." He said what you said, like, if you don't do it, God is going to raise someone else up. But like, woe to you, if you don't live out your purpose, because there's only one us, and there's only one us who has the purpose that we're supposed to fulfill. If we're not doing it, then that purpose isn't going to be done. The work will still be done, but by someone else, and they'll do it with their spin on it, and not like we can do it. So I love that. Stay in your lane. That will preach. Stay in your lane. That's the first thing that I'm like, oh shoot, stay in your lane. If we're trying to do what someone else is doing, we're not able to fulfill our purpose. We don't need to be a clone of anyone. We can take and dibble and dab and kind of pull the best pieces of people that we want, but we don't have to be a clone. We are to fulfill our purpose just as God made us to, not like someone else, not doing what they're doing, but doing what God called us to do.
And there's stuff that God births. He births it like an idea that he's birthed in you. Even if someone steals the idea, it's not going to be what you had intended, because God gave it, he gave it to you. And they
Exactly.
don't have all the pieces that God gave. They might took a little something and then running with it, but there's more pieces to it. So yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of the movie The Matrix. So I went and saw the with my mom and brother. I went and saw the last installment of Matrix. It was great. Now, the first one was written by a Black woman. She's a Christian Black woman, and she accused the brothers who put it out of stealing. Right? Have you heard the story of
yeah.
stealing her work? And the movies tell that story. The first one was great, awesome. Number two was Number three was number four was okay. It wasn't a complete waste of time. All right, cool. It's not something I necessarily go see again, but you can see that storyline was hers. God gave that to her. He birthed that in her. If she didn't put it out, then any other copy or any other replica of it was not going to look the same way. That's how it is. So, and I say that as an encouragement too. If someone has stolen a dream of ours, if someone has taken an idea and maybe we've overshared with someone and they try to put it out, that thing will not prosper. It will not accomplish what it's supposed to do in the way that you were supposed to give it, because God presented it to us. And so it's like, okay, wait a minute, like, hold on. I see someone doing what I was supposed to be doing, or what I told them, and they ran with it. That thing will crumble. Even if it looks like they're succeeding, it will never come to the full extent of what it was supposed to be, because it's supposed to come through us. Also, on the flip side, we can't be mad at someone. So let's say, okay, it's not someone who stole our idea, but let's say we see someone doing what God told us to do. We don't know them. We could see them on social media. We can't be mad at them for doing what God told us to do. Let that be the fire under our behinds to say, okay, they're doing it. I'm doing it too. There are so many people who want to spend money, right? We have so many consumers out here. The market isn't oversaturated with certain things. If God gives us a creative idea, we need to do it and run with it and move forward and go with that. And I like what Kyla was saying about at this time, at the end of the year, this is how we're supposed to be going into 2022, purpose filled and knowing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So I want to talk about in either of your lives, what are some things that you want to do, or what do you want to continue to do in 2022 that speaks to your purpose? Khaled, we'll go with you. Yeah, what are some things that you really want to? I know you talked about your private practice. Let's hear about that. Look, he has a waiting list, everybody, so don't go flooding his inbox, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Went in on September 1st, and right now I have a wait list. And I had a wait list as of December 1st, you know? And every day I've been on vacation for the last 2 weeks. I have not rested one day because I keep getting phone calls. Even though on Psychology Today I have wait lists, folks are like, they still calling me, right? And that's on purpose. That's on purpose. Because even if they can't use me, I forward them other information for other clinicians, right? Um, so it all works out for the best. Again, I want to go into a new year with more men, more African American men calling me and calling other clinicians saying, help me, help me. Because if we get our men in order, right? If we get our men in order, y'all know what happens collectively. Because you queens are in order already. Y'all walking y'all purpose, y'all order. We're out of order. And that was done on purpose, right? So we get us on track, you know, then everything else will, our communities, our children. Something about when daddy walks into when I used to go and pick up my daughter's report cards, it was something about when the daddies walked in the classroom. It was something different. Kids walk differently when dad is around, you know? So for me, going into the new year, being thankful, I almost lost my mom to COVID in May. I could have been depressed right now if he would have took my mama from me, you know? She's here. So I want to walk into 2022 being thankful, knowing that I have faith, that my resiliency level is high, and that in order for me to help these folks who need my help, who need our help, that he's going to continue to supply me the tools in my tool belt to make sure that we do what we need to do. I want to travel next year. I have not traveled one day this year, you know, so I want to travel next year, go to the Carolinas, because what we got to also too is when you're working this purpose, it's hard work sometimes. We got to sit our tails down and breathe. Ah, ooh. So I'm gonna take me and my daughter to the Carolinas this summer and cool out so that I can rejuvenate. So after today till Monday, I'm gonna shut everything down because Monday morning will be here in 2 seconds, right? So, and I'll be like, oh God, I gotta go back. Wow, I didn't rest. But no, I'm mindful and just keep walking our purpose. Because we all know what our purpose is. Even the ones that say, I don't know. Yeah, you do. That I don't know is I don't want to. That's what the real answer is. Because the minute you say, I got to, I have to, is you got to get busy with the busy. So I tell my clients, I told my daughter, I told my mentees, I don't know is never the answer that you'll give to me. You always know. That's just a put off answer. So we don't have no room for I don't knows anymore. It ain't a luxury. So that's going to be my 2022. Yep.
Awesome. 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 I'm like, what? So listen, I don't knows have been taken out of the vocabulary. I
Yeah.
done that. It's time over for that because it really isn't an I don't know. We do know our purpose. We don't want to acknowledge it because we don't want to carry that burden. So we're like, okay, I don't want to do this. No, no, no. We know what's calling us. We know what we feel. We know
Yes.
what's always coming up, at us in our faces. But sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that. Listen, family, we're going into 2022, and we don't have to wait until the clock strikes midnight to say I'm going to walk in my purpose. We can choose ye this day, right now, to walk in our purpose. You also mentioned something else amazing, that it was on purpose to disrupt the black male from the family, to knock him right off the top. Knowing that if you scatter, you cut off the head, you scatter the sheep. This is exactly what happens. The enemy is living out his purpose. He's doing what he's supposed to do. We have to say in rebuttal, I'm going to live out my purpose, and I'm going to make sure that we're establishing good families and all these things. And then you're talking about taking care of yourself. Come on, self care. If we're saying live your purpose and helping others with purpose, that is tough work. It's draining work. My God, we have to hear people's stories and encourage everybody. You hear these sad sob stories, and you're like, oh my gosh, if we live with all that and don't release that in some way, we'll be no good. We'll be out of alignment and not in purpose. So I love that. Look, go ahead and take your baby to the Carolinas. I love it. Let's travel. Let's get gone. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's amazing to just go and reset. And y'all stop ringing off his cell phone and hitting his email inbox up. Okay, let him rest. Thank you kindly. Okay, you can send this out. Let him
All right.
rest because he needs to be filled up and refreshed to give out. Awesome, awesome. Auntie, what are your, plans for 2022? How are you continue to live out your purpose?
I enjoy what I'm doing as far as with working with my families, but I really feel that providing resources for people. Many years ago, I used to be part of a group, the Brockton Peace Crusaders, and it was just an informal volunteer group. But we tried to do what we could as far as with providing resources. People are out here hurting. Food insecurities is real. Resources, unfortunately, we have young people that are, being killed, gun violence. Someone has to bury them. We don't have to get into pointing fingers in regards to whatever, whatever. The child needs to be buried. Resources. It's very sad when GoFundMe's have to go up. I feel that there's things that the community used to do for each other because that was just what the community did. And speaking in regards to with the Kwanzaa, principles, really trying to, I always say like, bring back FUBU for us, by us. Like, let us rely on each other. Let us turn to each other instead of on each other. Because the community, the village is burned. It's in ashes. And that's kind of important for me to kind of bring that back. Like that's a level of legacy, because that's your purpose as well. It's your legacy. What is it that you're leaving people? What is it that when people think of you, that they're going to think of you? Um, so really just being able to provide resources, being able to be in a position to just help the community. It is hurting. The community is hurting. They are crying out in such a way that I've never seen in almost my 60 years. Um, and it's painful. It's very, very it's painful. So wherever, I mean, from the tip of Maine to the bottom of California, there are some of the same issues that's happening in our community. But I always say, like, I would like to do something that can spark something to be national. I can't fix what's going on in Maine. I can only work within my community and hope that it catches on. Social media has helped to bridge gaps, in ways that it wasn't like that before. So even if you're in Chicago, if you're in the Carolinas, there's something that can be said by someone here in Massachusetts that'll spark you to do something where you are. So it is just to be able to. I've taken my role as being more of a bridge, then gonna be that Gale, and I'm okay with that. And really trying to conquer fears because I know that there are some things that have held me back because of my own fears. That's why I talk about that own voice in your head. It can be louder than those outside. And there's some things that I've conquered this year, right at the tip of the end of this year. And I know that God has more for me as I continue to kind of shed some of that fearful skin like a snake. So I just want to continue to walk in my purpose with a lot more of a holy boldness and less fear. And yeah, yeah, we're definitely less fear.
Awesome. I mean, this is the whole purpose of Kwanzaa, for us to live out these principles. When Dr. Malena Karenga created this, it was like, how do we live out these principles and how do we use these principles to exalt and really edify our community? Purpose, my gosh, without purpose, we have no navigation. We don't know what we're doing. And we're willing and we're open and susceptible to just accepting anything because we haven't accepted our purpose. We haven't walked in it. So this conversation was amazing. We've already been speaking for almost an hour, which is crazy. Come on, when you talk about purpose, the time just goes by because you can talk about everything, but it's so amazing and so wonderful. I know I feel inspired to go. There's a fire that's been lit, and that we're not going to miss this opportunity, that we are going to take these principles that have been given to us and we're going to run this for 365 days and then start all over again. That we don't just use this time for Kwanzaa to live out these principles. That this is a lifestyle. Living out purpose is a lifestyle. You adopt it, it becomes your core. And like you both have said, there is a rest and there is a settling that you feel when you're living out your purpose, and it. When it's your purpose because you're like, oh wow, it feels like a cloak, or like Goldilocks, like this bed was too small, this bed was too big, but this one was just right. When it's your purpose, that purpose settles on you and you're like, okay. And that's how you know that it's your purpose too, because you'll feel tired, but you won't feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Because when you're called to it, when it's your calling, then it's like, oh, okay, I can live this out and carry this out. I want to thank Auntie. I want to thank Khaled for coming on and talking about purpose. Y'all are amazing. I want to give you final words just of encouragement to those looking for their purpose, for those wanting to deny their purpose, but we need them. Please give the final words. Khaled, I'll go with you first, and then we'll close out with Auntie Gwen. Listen, these are Kwanzaa conversations. Tomorrow we're doing Kuumba about creativity. We're gonna do this all the way to the end because we need to have these practical ways to live out the Naguzu Saba, so that as January comes and February, March, going all the way down, we're still living on our purpose. We're still in creativity and collective work and responsibility and all that. We're still doing that. So please give last final encouragement words to our listeners.
Okay. What I want to leave out and be my last words, but long-winded words, is in order to walk in your purpose, not somebody else's purpose, not your husband's purpose, not your wife's purpose, not your children, not your parents. Start off with having a love affair with you. We're so worried about loving everybody else, and we forget to love us. Because when you start loving you, and I mean a real love, okay, then you understand that you deserve the optimum best of everything. And when you know you deserve the best of everything, purposes come at you. They'll hug you, they'll embrace you. Because somebody who loves them, someone who has high esteem about themselves, they can't be crooked no more. They can only be fantastic, right? So start today and this weekend on how you want to love you, how you want to have that wonderful love affair with yourself. And then I promise you, write it down on paper, tape record me saying this. Everything else will work itself out in your life. So let me leave you with that. And I love you too, ladies, and love having you have me here today.
Yes, yes. Can y'all see why this is my mentor? I had to ask him, like, hey, bruh, amazing, amazing man of God, amazing, purpose filled, just human, awesome. You know what I mean? I'm gonna drop your information so that people can know how to reach you and contact you, and get on your waiting list. You know what I mean? That's what it
Absolutely.
is. So
Absolutely.
that's the reality of it. Thank you so much, Auntie. Please give your last closing comments and purpose filled statements.
Sure. I forgot to mention in talking about things for next year that there was just local acting that I used to do around, mostly within church groups, and I had gotten away from it being in grad school, being a mom, just having life get in the way. But now next year I'm looking to kind of get back into some things, maybe do some headshots. There's a local documentary, that a movie that I'm gonna give a shout out to Tim Young did, and he asked me to play a part in it. So that premieres at the end of January. So it's having the opportunity to come back around. So I'm looking to maybe do some things in acting like some other professions. It doesn't make a difference what age you are. You can enter it at any age because they always need somebody to play the grandmother, the baby, and everything else in between. So, but just with purpose and walking in your purpose or trying to find your purpose, just be intentional. You have to be intentional with your purpose. When walking in your purpose, that's walk in your purpose. um, and with anything, there's intentionality that has to definitely take place. Know that it's not always going to be easy. We talked about the different roads. So, like, don't give up. It's almost like when people are doing the coaches or the fitness instructors, and they're like, no pain, no gain. It's the same thing with your purpose. It is just one of those things that when you get to the other side, like in your soul looking back and wonder how I got over, when you're walking in your purpose, when you are fulfilling that purpose, and then you're going to look back and it's like you're going to see that the road wasn't as bumpy as it seemed. It wasn't quite as long either. So just know that it is. It's not necessarily going to be. And could someone's purpose do that where everything's lined up and they do? But again, their purpose is not your purpose. Just really always continuing to be focused about that what God has for you is for you. It's for you. So really try and when you're walking in your purpose, kind of having the little blinders on where you're kind of just going straight and you're not getting distracted along the way, because again, your purpose is waiting for you, much like someone is waiting for you because of you walking in your purpose.
There you go.
Amen. It's one big circle. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you again, for both of you just to come on and talk about your purpose. We can feel your passion. So tomorrow, guys, we'll be doing Kuumba, which is creativity. And all this is really leading up into our Kwanzaa vision board gathering. We want to start the new year in the Kwanzaa principles because we want to take this all the way through the new year. So thank you again for tuning in. Please like our Facebook page. I'm going to drop it right in our chat. This is the Harambe Learning Culture Center, which is in Brockton, but it serves everybody. We do virtual events, and we just want to get the culture out here. We are living Kwanzaa 365, and we are walking in our purpose. So purpose, I'm talking to you, purpose. Come forward, come forth, wake up and get moving. We need you. We need your gifts. We need what you're going to do in the earth. So please, everybody, don't be afraid to walk in your purpose because we are purpose filled. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Please share this with anyone that you want to, who you think would benefit from this. And again, thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Khalid. We appreciate you and we love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I know.
All
Thank
right.
you. Steph,
Yes,
and thank you, Khaled. It
absolutely.
was very nice sharing this platform with you. Thank you, and God bless.
God
Thank
bless.
you
All
so
right.
much, ladies. Y'all be and have a wonderful new year, okay?
Have an
You
awesome
as
new year.
well. A purpose
Absolutely.
driven and purpose filled New Year.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
All right.